Hi there, and welcome to the next note set. This slide is just a direction slide, so you don't need to copy it. You do, however, have to copy slides 2 through 7 into your spiral as the next note set. It's entitled Possessive Adjectives 3A.2 because that's what section of the book it comes from. There's an activity on slide 7 that you need to copy and also do the practice problems for. And this is new for this one. Please keep a list of questions that you have, and we will discuss them in class. This is the first slide that you have to copy. A possessive adjective is a word that's used to show ownership. To decide which possessive adjective you need, you have to go through the PVG process that we have used before in class. P stands for plural, so you always check to see if it's plural first. V stands for vowel. You always check to see if it starts with a vowel after you check to see if it's plural. And gender is next. If it's not plural and it doesn't start with a vowel, then you simply figure out if it's masculine or feminine. Possessive adjectives go before the noun they describe in English and in French. Samples in English would be my brother, your uncle, their hats. This is the chart of possessive adjectives. It would be a good idea to stop the sound on this presentation and copy the chart before you listen to my explanation. Please take a moment and do that now. You should have already copied the chart at this point. Let me explain to you what these things are. You have several columns on the chart. You have the English words that you're trying to translate into French. And in PVG order, you're now seeing the ways that you say those particular words. The plural way to say my is may. If it starts with a vowel, you use mon. If it's not plural and it doesn't start with a vowel, then you go to gender, which is either masculine mon or feminine ma. For your, the plural form is te. The vowel situation is tone. If it's not plural and it doesn't start with a vowel, then you go to masculine or feminine, and your answers would be tone or ta. To say his, her, and its, they all mean his, her, and its. The plural one is say, starts with a vowel but is not plural, is son. Masculine is also son, and feminine is sa. Down for our, there are only two ways to say it. There's a plural way, which is pronounced no with a silent S. And the singular form, which is both masculine and feminine, is Notre. You possibly recognize this word from the cathedral called Notre Dame, which means Our Lady. Y'all's is kind of the vous form for this possessive adjective set. To say y'all's bike, y'all's cookie, y'all's mother, you only have a plural and a singular. The plural is vos, and the singular for both masculine and feminine is votre. There are only two ways to say their bicycle, their cake, their mom. If it's plural, it's leur with an S, and if it's singular, it's leur without the S. Go back and listen to this explanation again if you think you might need it. If not, go on to the next slide. An important rule in our mantra or motto for this particular note set is going to be object, not owner. It does not matter who the owner is. All of the owners are in blue on this slide. You do the PVG, plural vowel gender process, on the object this is owned, which is always going to be the second word in the pair. So his sister is sa sœur. Sa is the feminine form of his because the sister is feminine. For her uncle, you have son oncle. This is a masculine and singular uncle. It does not matter that her, whoever she is a female. His aunts, it's the aunts that are plural, and that's what you have to reflect when you choose say. Object not owner, object not owner, object not owner. You'll hear us say it 50 more times before the note set is completely studied and tested. Next slide. There's another way to do possession in French, and it's very different from the English form. In English, you can use an apostrophe S to express relationships or ownership. Paul's shirt, etc. However, the apostrophe S does not exist in French, and there's a formula that you use instead. So never, ever, ever in a French situation will you ever see anything like an apostrophe S. The formula, broken down in parts, is you need the little L word that goes with the object, and then you use the word de, or D apostrophe if your next word starts with a vowel. And then the last thing that you include is who actually owns whatever the object is. So putting these together, all color coordinated, the little L words are all red, the objects are all green, the de is blue, and then the noun or person who owns is in black. Paul's book would become Le Livre de Paul. His or her aunt's brothers, Les frères de sa tante. Anne's chair becomes La chaise d'Anne with an apostrophe because Anne starts with a vowel. And l'idée de la fille, the girl's idea. And this is just something you have to use several times in practice in order to make sure that you have all the bits and parts to it. Next slide. Possessive adjectives have an additional little quirk to them when you're using the information on the previous slide. Sometimes the de will be followed by the word le or les. In that case, they form a contraction, but you might not recognize it as a contraction because there's no apostrophe in it like English contractions. So when de and le are next to each other in a sentence, they contract and form the word du. So the de and the le would disappear and you would have this word du instead. The sample here, l'opinion du grand-père est importante. The grandfather's opinion is important. So here's the apostrophe S in English, does not exist at all in French. If you wanted to say the opinion of the grandfather and had all the words, the de and the le would have been combined right here in the sentence. Over here we have the plural format of that. La fille des voisins, the neighbor's daughter, so it's plural neighbors. Normally the de and the les would be right here in the sentence, but they have contracted to form the word day. Next slide. This is where you pause the production and copy all of these problems and do the practice activities, all 18 of them in your spiral as the final part of your notes. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, keep a list and we will make sure that we address everyone's questions during class. Bonne chance!